Okay, so now let's start off like what happens when governor calls at the Red Cliff to see if how McLeary was, and he would be informed that McLeary had not been admitted to the hospital. So let's see how he reacts then. So by the way, Carter, I hope you have managed to get McLeary to the hospital, all right? Yes, he's in the Red Cliff now, really groggy, he was, when we got to the examination officers and they rang for the ambulance from there. The governor rang the Radcliffe a few minutes later and asked for the accident department. McLeary, you say? Yeah, he's a parson. I don't there is anyone. Yes, there is. You will find one of your ambulances picked him up from Elsfield Way about. Oh, that, yes. We sent an ambulance, all right. But when we got there, the fellow had gone. No one seemed to know where he was, just vanished, not a sign. So, but the governor was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with an almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. So now, when he was informed that McLeary was not there where the ambulance went to pick him up, then governor was able to make out like what might have happened. A quarter of an hour later, they found the Reverend McLeary securely bound and gagged. So what the governor might have been able to make out that the McLeary, if McLeary had not been, if McLeary was not in the hospital, then it means that the one who was, pretending to be injured might not have been the real McLeary. So he might have sent his men to see. He might have sent his men to the house of McLeary, and there he was found gagged. Okay, he had been there in his study in the Broad Street. He had been there, he said, since 8:15 a.m. when two men had called out. Inquiries in Newbury throughout the afternoon produced nothing at all. And by daytime, everyone in the prison knew what had happened. It had not been Evans impersonating McLeary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McLeary who had stayed in. So now they were able to make out like it was not Evans impersonating McLeary. Okay, it had been Evans who was impersonating as McLeary, the one who was staying back. So Evans had not escaped as McLeary, but Evans was staying in as McLeary. So the one who went out, whom Stephens escorted earlier, he was McLeary itself. He was no one else. He was McLeary who had been escorted out by Stephens. And the one who stayed back was Evans, but in the guise of McLeary. So now the governor and all were able to make it out by tea time. The fish and chips were delicious. And now, children, we are going to see where Evans is. Got it? The fish and chips were delicious, and after a gentle stroll round the center of Chipping Norton, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. So now we are there where Evans is. So where is he? So he's at he might have had his fish chips. He might have enjoyed the dinner. And after gentle stroll around the center of the Chipping Norton, he decided to go to his hotel and sleep. So which hotel it might be? Any guess? What might be the name of this hotel? The Golden and Lion. Okay. So the correction slip which had come where he was asked to make some correction on the word Golden Lion. So he was asked to make it correct as Golden and Lion. So he was actually told about like this is a place where you are to go after getting escaped from this jail. So his arrangement, his boarding and lodging was arranged in this hotel by the outsiders. So a smart new hat concealed the wreckage of the closely cropped hair. So now we are getting like how Evans was able to make an escape as McLeary. So his a smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair. So now he had got a smart new hat. But earlier there in the hotel, in that jail, he had that ugly hat, bobbled hat. But this new hat, it had concealed his closely cropped hair. And he kept it on as he walked up to the reception desk of the Golden Lion. Got it? So he was wearing that smart hat even at the reception of this Golden Lion. It would take a good while for his hair to regain its former glories. You must be knowing that everybody in the jail, Stephen Jackson and all, they had always told him to cut his hair off. He had long hair. He was always asked to cut them off, but he never cut them off because he was very fond of. But on that last day when he was appearing for the exam, he had got them cut, and before the authorities would come to know that he had cut his hair, he put on that ugly hat, and nobody knew that his hair was short. Got it? So a smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up to the reception desk of the Golden Lion. It would take a good while for his hair to regain his former glories. So, but what the hell did that matter? He was out again, wasn't he? So a bit of bad luck that when Jackson had pinched his scissors, for it had meant a long and tricky operation with his only razor blade the previous night. So you remember, like the previous evening, Jackson had taken his scissors from him. So those scissors he had kept with him to cut his hair short. But in the absence of scissors, he had to cut his hair short with the razor only, the razor which was given to him to shave himself. So it was really a very, very difficult task for him, but he did this. But he had his good luck too. Just think if Jackson had made him take his bobble hat off, that really had been a close call. Still, old Jackson wasn't such a bad fellow. So now this man, Evans is now analyzing like how crucial that situation was when he was asked to remove that hat. If he had to remove the hat, then at that very moment, his plan might have been flopped. So that was a really very, very crucial moment, and he praises Jackson for being so good. Okay, so when the criminal is praising the authorities, it means that there is something wrong with the authorities. And what was wrong with the authority? That they had been emotional fools. One of the worst things, funny really, had been the beard. So what was the worst thing? The beard. He had always been allergic to sticking plaster, and even now his chin was irritatingly sore and red. So how did he escape from jail as McLeary? Because McLeary might have brought a false beard for him, and that false beard was still giving him some problem. The receptionist wasn't the same girl who had booked him in, but the change was definitely for the better. As he collected his key, he gave her his best smile, told her he wouldn't be bothering with breakfast, ordered the Daily Express, and asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day. So he told the receptionist that he would not want any breakfast, and moreover, he told her that he would want his newspaper Daily Express, and even asked for a morning call at 6:45 because he knew that his next day would be very busy. So what do you mean by his busy day next day? Any idea like what did he mean by busy day? Because he knew that the governor might be reaching here to arrest him. He knew he had left behind the question paper, and the question paper had complete, plan about his escape. And he was in the Golden Lion, and that hint, the governor, you also know, will come to know about it. He whistled softly to himself as he walked up the broad stairs. He had sort of liked the idea of being dressed up as a minister dog collar and everything. So here we are getting the clue to, we are getting answers like how he escaped as McLeary. So he liked the idea like he was being dressed up like McLeary, okay, the dog collar and everything. Yes, it had been a jolly good idea for McLeary to wear two black fronts, two collars. So now McLeary, how did Evans have all these things? From where did he manage the beard? From where did he manage that dress of McLeary? Because McLeary had come with the double dresses. He had got all the things twice. So he had got two collars, he had got two black fronts, and one he had given to Evans and one he had kept with himself. So in one, getup, he escaped as McLeary only, and one getup he gave to Evans with which he was able to impersonate McLeary. Got it? Yes, it had been a jolly good idea for McLeary to wear two black fronts, two collars, but that top collar, phew, it had kept on slipping off his back stud. And there has been that one panicky moment when McLeary had only just got his hand up to neck in time to stop the collar springing apart before Stephens. They got that little problem worked out all right, though a pen stuck in the mouth whenever the evil eye had appeared at the peephole, easy. But all that fiddling about under the blanket with a black front and stud at the back of the collar, that had been far more difficult than they would ever have bargained for. Everything else had gone beautifully smoothly, though in the car he had found everything whatever they had promised him: soap, water, clothes, the map. Yes, map, of course. The Ordnance Survey map of Oxfordshire. He had got some good friends, some very clever friends, Christ. So who these friends were of Evans? Who were these friends? The friends who helped him escape from the jail. So where were these friends? These friends were working in the examination also. Okay, the secretary of the examination and all the people, those who were there in the examination, those people were with Evans. So they helped Evans escape from jail. Got it? And so here in this paragraph, we have read out everything, whatever went before, which helped Evans escape. So number one, how did he have that black front, that dog collar, and that spectacles and all? Because McLeary had come with all those things. He had two things each. Okay, he was wearing two black fronts, he was wearing two black collars, two dog collars, and he was having two spectacles. So like this, he had everything too. But how was it possible for Evans to put on all these things when Stephens was looking at him after every 1 minute or after every 2 minutes? That then blanket was helping him out. Okay, under the blanket, he had been just putting in the he was putting on and then setting that black collar and front. And whenever this, Stephen would come and peep through the hole, then the pen inside the mouth would give an indication to McLeary that they are being observed. So at that moment, they would become still, and the moment Stephen would go away, at that very moment, they would they would start doing the makeup and all. Got it? Okay, he unlocked his bedroom door and closed it quietly behind him, and then stood frozen to the spot like a man who has just caught a glimpse of the Gorgon. So when he went to the bedroom, when he locked the room, then he stood frozen because he will see something very strange now. So whom will he see now? He will see the governor. It's not worth trying anything, said the governor quietly as Evans' eyes darted desperately around the room. I've got two men all around the place. Well, there were only two really, but Evans needn't know that. He let the words sink in. Women too? Didn't you think the blonde girl in reception was rather sweet? So now he was informed that he had been, surrounded by all the police officers from all sides. So he must give up. So now governor was in that hotel room before Evans had come. So Evans was now caught. Evans was now visibly shaken. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer and held his head between his hands. For several minutes, there was utter silence. Finally, he spoke. It was that bloody correction slip, I suppose. So which bloody correction slip? That question paper. So Evans said, like, you people have come, you have caught me because of that correction slip. Well, the governor failed to mask the deep satisfaction in his voice. There are a few people who know a little German. So the governor said, yes, even I know German. So governor is always very egoist. He's always very proud. So slowly, very slowly, Evans relaxed. He was beaten and he knew it. He sat up at last and managed to smile ruefully. It wasn't really a mistake. You see, we hadn't been able to fix up any hotel, but we couldn't work. So we could have worked that some other way. No, the really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? So see how much information, what kind of information was this Evans able to get? So it was very important. Evans says that we knew that at what time will exam start, because as per the start of the time, because in the end it was important for them to get that call, which Stephens had got, that he had to escort McLeary. Because in the end, it was very important for them to wind up their makeup and all. And it was possible only when McLeary would leave the place. So at the time, they had got one fake call, and that was very timely call. Okay. And like a fool, I presented you with that little piece of information on a plate. So governor says this, well, somebody did. So you see, sir, that correction slip killed two little birds with a single stone. Didn't it? The name of the hotel for me and exact time the exam started for. Got it? So when the correction slip came, it served two purposes. One was that the correction slip told me the hotel where I will be going. And secondly, it also told me the exact time of the paper, exact start of the timing of the paper. The governor nodded. It's pretty common word. Good job. It's pretty common, sir. Or I would never have known where to come to. Would I? So because of the correction slip only, I got to know that I have to come to Golden Lions Hotel. Nice name though, Zoom, Golden and Lion. How did you know which Golden Lion it was? There are hundreds. Same as you, Evans. So now Evans asked governor, like, how did you come to know that if I am here only? Then governor says, like, the way you got to know. Index number 313, center number 271. Remember, 6 figures. And if you take an ordnance survey map for Oxfordshire, you find that the 6-figure reference is 313/271, lands you bang in the middle of Chipping Norton. So as per this, digits, the map will help you reach here only where you are right now. Yeah, you're right. We would have opened, you would run off to Newbury. So Ivan says that, yes, I thought that you'll go to Newbury. We did. Well, that's something, I suppose. That question paper, Evans, could you really understand all that German? I could hardly. No, cause I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just hoped it would throw a few spanners in the works. Sort of muddle everybody a bit. The governor stood up. Tell me one thing before we go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? So this was the only secret left out right now. By this time, we have got all the answers. Like, how did he have that all dress? How did he have that dog collar? From where did he get the beard? From where did he get the spectacles? How did he escape as McLeary? How did he reach this place only? So these all answers we have got, but still we did not get the answer to, like, how did McLeary get, blood? Because he was not actually injured. This is clear now, because Evans had escaped as McLeary, so he was not injured now. Then from where did that blood come? Okay, so now that answer we are going to get now. The governor stood up and tell us, like, from where that blood. Evans suddenly looked a little happier. Clever, sir. Very clever that was. How to get a couple of pints of blood into a cell? Hey, means how is it possible to take blood to jail when there is none there to start off with, or when the invigilator, shall we say, gets searched before he comes in? So how can you get the blood inside the jail, especially when that invigilator is going to be searched? Shall we say get searched before he comes in? Yes, sir, you can well ask about that, and I don't know if I ought to tell you. After all, I might want to use that particular. So Ivan says that, yes, sir, I would not like to tell you, like, how we brought that blood inside, because he might need this kind of thing again in his career. So anything to do with a little rubber ring for piles, perhaps. So governor was right. And governor says, like, Does it have to do anything with that rubber ring? Evans grinned feebly. Clever, though, wasn't it? So he says, yes, sir, you are very clever. You are able to make out. Must have been a tricky job sticking a couple of pins. So governor says that it might have been very difficult to get real blood. No, you've got it wrong, sir. No problem about that. No, it's a clotting, you see. That's the big trouble. So the trouble with the kind of blood we got was that it gets clotted very easily. So we got the blood easy enough. Pig's blood, it was, from the slaughter's house in Kindleton. So they got the pig's blood from Kindleton. Okay, they got that rubber tube, and inside that rubber tube, it was the blood of the pig. And they had got it from Kindleton. But to stop it clotting, you have to mix your actual blood. So in order to stop that pig's blood from getting clotted, you have to mix it with human blood. Evans took a breath. With 1/10 of its own volume of 3.8% of trisodium citrate. So 1/10 of its own volume of this much, and you have to add this much of this chemical, then it will not clot. Didn't know that, didn't you? Did you, sir? The governor shook his head in a token of reluctant admiration. We learn something new every day. They tell me, come on, my dad. So governor was still admiring Evans for the kind of intelligence he had, right? Okay, Evans made no show of resistance, and side by side, the two men walked slowly down the stairs. So this, Evans, now what is happening? Evans is again going to be arrested. Okay, now governor will take Evans to jail, but let's see whether he will be able to or not. Okay, so the last part of the play we'll do tomorrow. So we'll finish it off tomorrow only. So go through the chapter again. Tomorrow will be the last day when we'll be winding up this chapter. Okay.